Hey everyone, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. I'm doing a general reading this week. I don't know why I'm not doing zodiac readings, but I just am not doing zodiac readings right now for the time being. I think there might be some restructuring coming or something like that as far as how I do these. But for now, I'm going to do a general reading for anybody, everybody. Let's get going. We're going to use the Crow Oracle deck, and I have the expansion pack, which was very exciting to receive. So let's see what comes out here. We have this one. I like it. Observation, wait and see. The spider, very potent image for me right here. So observation, watching how someone else does something. Watching and waiting. I mean, I don't think this crow's about to eat the spider. I think the crow's just watching how the spider does something, observing. Spiders are very important to me. I think one of the most powerful visions I had about 20 some years ago was about a spider. And they're creators. They create a web, and then opportunities come their way, and they make the most out of each opportunity. I think this crow is similar to the spider in a way, because they're sort of scavenger animals, or they're not like hunters per se, but they are looking for opportunities. The spider isn't really looking for opportunities. It just creates its world, creates its web, does its art, and the opportunities come, and it makes the most of it. And that's how it gets its meal. To me, the spider is the ultimate artist as far as working creatively, kind of building their own world, building their own home. There's also like a sense of working from home with the spider. Really, he works from home. And more or less being an opportunist rather than a hunter. So the observation to me too talks about divine timing. It talks about doing what you're called to do, and trusting that that you're right where you need to be. And then we have nature. So getting out into nature, there's a little clearing here too. I really appreciate that, as far as like, I want to say a cleared space, like a space to go, a space where things aren't hard. I think that's why we love like meadows and stuff like that. And right on the edges are where a lot of life happens, right on those transitional periods between like, you know, in the intertidal zones, and that's where a lot of opportunity actually lies. And I can see this web being right along the edge here, right? The web isn't going to be right across the clearing. It's going to be next to the clearing. And the clearing to me represents, the clearing in this picture, in this nature, represents a space that is restful, open, expansive, right? We don't need to like bushwhack our way through that. It's like, this is like, there's dandelions all around, but there's this mowed area of peace where we don't have to find our way in a meadow, because the whole meadow is the way. There's an expansive way. The restful area where we don't have to fight our way through it, fight our way through underbrush, fight our way through anything, growth. I almost want to say our own minds. It's this expansive area that is very gentle, open, welcoming, and you don't have to find your path through it. You can take any route through a meadow. It doesn't matter. There's not trees in your way. There's not shrubs in your way. There's not anything in your way. So that's what I'm getting here with these two, observation and nature, this sense of, very much a sense of being in the right place at the right time. And the nature card obviously is a call to go out into nature and enjoy that. So that may be part of the story that you're experiencing too, is some sort of adventure into nature, venturing out into the clearing. Yeah. There's a sense too of getting away from the crowd. And both of these, I have a sense of, you know, working on your own, working solo. Of course, there's two in the meadow here, but this one has left its pier and gone to observe something. This almost has a hermit vibe to me, as far as like going off on your own to observe sort of what might be, how someone else is doing something. But there's a sense of leaving the pack behind to do something maybe more restful, more creative, and there might be opportunities that come from that. Okay. Make sure I've got my sides. I don't end up with 4,000 reversals here. So overall, for the reading from the below decks, from the bottom of the deck, we have this Eight of Swords card, feeling limited, self-limiting beliefs, feeling limited, but not actually being limited, feeling maybe afraid to take steps, feeling maybe trapped, but not being actually trapped, but feeling trapped, feeling stuck somewhere. So we may be releasing from that feeling, right? She can very easily undo this little bow. There's also like a sense with Eight of Swords, and I hate to bring it up, but with Eight of Swords, we can also get a sense of damsel in distressing, of being capable, but not in your mind, which is fine. I don't want to say don't reach out. Like, it's not like you don't need to reach out. You do need to reach out, if only for your mind, to say help, help. And then people can be like, oh, you know, it's not, you're not actually in a problem, or you're not, there's a sense of like damsel in distressedness. And so some readings of this card are like, well, what are you getting out of that? And maybe some people are like that, but none of my viewers are like that, where it's like, oh, I need help all of the time, everyone come help me. But there's a sense where the problem may be in your head, but that's not a call to not ask for help. Other people may be able to show you how to take the blindfold off. Oh, there's just a knot right here. It's just a little, there's just a little futzing you have to do right here, but just pull on the string and you'll be okay. And then you pull on the string, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm okay. Thank you, you know. So there's a sense of that too, of like release being very easy, or the release being not easy, simple, but you may need to be shown. And then we have observation. So this would be you watching even perhaps someone release themselves too from this. Maybe someone who's already been in that spot and has released themselves from sort of the limitations there, watching how they did that. Maybe someone's watching you, you know, release yourself. Past, present, inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. I love to see it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I take a break and now I'm sitting here looking at these cards thinking, what a glorious relationship I have with these cards. I love them so much. This is so delightful to see this stuff coming here. In the recent past, we have High Priestess, information that has been withheld, possibly for your benefit, possibly because you needed to figure stuff out. In some ways, I feel like there's a deep connection with this spider here, this High Priestess energy, things being withheld, things not being shared on purpose, because that's part of the path, right? The spider doesn't know, what its next meal is going to be. It just sort of sets up shop here, and it has no idea, are we going to get are we going to get some little no-see-ums? Are we going to get some big juicy flies? Are we going to get like a moth, the mother of all, catches here? Like, they don't know. And there's a sense too in this observation of wanting to learn something, and taking sort of a passive, it's a very passive card. Both parties are very passive. The crow is passively watching the spider, and the spider has like done creation here, but now he's passively waiting for the opportunities to come in. So somehow this relates to the High Priestess, as far as you just doing what you know to do, you just following your path, you just are doing what it is that you know to do, without really a lot of like some sort of intuitive sense, right? The spider, I don't know what their cognition is like. But the spider is just intuitively building its web, building its nest, building its home. It's just very intuitively doing this thing. And that's how it eats, is by following its intuition. And so I love to see this high priestess here, this very intuitive thing. There is something that you've already been through where you moved very intuitively through it. Perhaps definitely without knowing what the outcome is, without knowing what happens next. You've moved very intuitively, being kept in the dark or knowing that you are in the dark. But having to, in some ways, restrain yourself of like wanting to run ahead. There is some sort of sense of restrained independence here and not being able to move totally freely and totally independently. But there's a self-restraint though, or working with something, working with the unknown, working with the wild, working with untamable aspects and unknowable aspects. So you've been in a very intuitive place. The book is closed and locked here. We have the closed and locked book. So it's closed and locked. So there is stuff that you were not capable of knowing, that you did not know that you didn't know. And you've been working with some very intuitive energy. So you've been guided along and guiding yourself very intuitively. And then in the current situation, we have the moon, which is interesting because the high priestess and the moon together, these cards have so much overlap and so much similarity. Okay, so in the past, you've intuited something, but the moon talks about like, where's our intuition versus like, what do you call that? Delusion. Illusion versus intuition is what the moon card is. And both of them have so many similarities. They have, you know, the posts here, the pillars holding up sort of reality here. But what is real and what is not real? So maybe in the past with this high priestess, you've been intuitively guided and now you're like, am I just delusional? Like, I swear I was supposed to do this. I was supposed to build this. I was supposed to create this thing. I swear I was intuitively guided to do it. And now you're like, maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe this is just nuts. What's happening? You know, this doesn't make any sense anymore. And you're trying to sort out, like, where have you taken some foolish leaps? Where's your subconscious issues, subconscious fears maybe coming in here too, especially when we're dealing with something as non-concrete and non-like knowable in a way where, you know, our culture and everyone around us understands knowledge, but not knowable. And like, where is that? Where, like, and now these fears are like, maybe this wasn't an intuitive move. Maybe this was just a crazy move. Maybe I'm just nuts. Maybe there's something. So there's like this past intuitive working. And I think there was like some dignity to this intuition too. But the moon kind of takes us more into like the raw sense. And I think there might be like intuition or illusion, but I feel like there's a lack of dignity in the moon. There's like, it's more crude. I don't want to say like bougie versus working class because I almost feel like those can be very reversed. The bougie people can be very crude, and the working class can be more, you know. But there's a sense of one thing has a lot of dignity, and now you're in a place that doesn't feel like it has that same. You know, the high priestess versus this moon. This is all like very surreal experience of just what is even going on here. We've got rabbits leaping. We've got, actually, these are a lot of really great spirit guides here. We have the stag spirit, common spirit guide, the rabbit, another spirit guide, you know, and we're entering the year of the rabbit on the 22nd as far as Chinese astrology is concerned. So a lot of luck, a lot of great movement. We have this leadership here. We've got dogs. We've got this crawdad and this crab representing some like subconscious creepy crawlies or subconscious issues coming up and fears. And here's the moon representing intuition. So I love how the face is the same here. We have like a very similar face, this intuition, But now it's just in this landscape of doubt and shadow, and like, is this really intuition? What's going on here? So there's a sense of like, was I divinely guided? Because maybe the spider hasn't really received anything here, or maybe there's just like there's something here that's not quite, that doesn't feel as dignified in the information that you're getting. Inner landscape, Page of Swords, this tentative communication or knowledge. Yeah, you're not sure you know what you know anymore. You're not sure. It can be student, it can be going back to school. This can be someone on your mind, a student that's on your mind. Right now, the sword being thought, being communication, the page being student or just inexperience. So there might be some inexperienced communication. There might be someone going back to school. There could be a student that you're thinking about. It can just be awkward communication. Maybe you're thinking about saying something, but you're not sure what. Maybe you're intuiting something going on with someone and you're not sure how to talk about it or what to say. What's at issue here is Knight of Wands. So Knights being communication, Wands being impulsive intuition. So there's no intuitive communication. So whoever's intuiting this, you're thinking about talking about it, but nobody has, because I don't think you're clear on whether this is intuition or illusion or what's going on. Maybe at one time you felt very clear on this, but at this point you're not feeling very clear. And maybe you're waiting on communication from someone, but they're not, either someone that you're working with is not, is outside of their intuition. They don't want to rush things. They don't want to do things sloppy. They don't want to say sloppy things. They don't want to, they want to be very careful with their communication. So the Knight of Wands in the upright can be a little bit sloppy, a little bit impulsive. This could be someone who does want to communicate, but they want to make sure it's right, and they want to do it right, and they want to do a good job of it. Or this could also be someone who is having a lot of intuition, but they're not saying anything. So there is a sense of like intuition not being communicated, because I think this moon is here and we don't know. So this could be you too. We don't know. We're not sure whether this is intuitive or impulsive or what's going on here. So there's been no movement forward or no communication forward, because there's just like, I don't know if this is intuitive or impulsive or what's going on here anymore. Like if you'd communicated back here, maybe this would have been, you would have been like, yes, I am following my intuition. Yes, I know. And now you're sort of sitting back and observing and being like, do I know? What do I know? I don't know that I know. So the Wands being very intuitive and the Knight being communication, I just feel like either there's been some very impulsive communication, perhaps in the past, or perhaps currently some impulsive communication, and there's not like a real clear idea of what this means or what it's for. So there could have been like a Knight of Wands in reverse could be like communication, but very impulsive, based on illusion, not really intuitive, but really, impulsive communication. Or now we're like, no, I don't even know what's real anymore. I don't even know what's going on. So I'm just not going to say anything until I do get a clearer idea of what this is. So we have two people here. Both of this one wanting to communicate clearly and wanting to know what they think, and this one either having already said some really impulsive things and is now like perhaps holding back because they're not quite sure. They don't want to do that again. They don't want to speak impulsively. In your environment, though, we have the sun. So what's really interesting is the moon is like, do I see this clearly? The environment, there's something very happy and very clear going on here. This is really interesting because we have this partial clarity from the High Priestess giving way to fears of illusion and fears of not actually having known anything, even though you thought you knew at least something. Now there's like a backtracking on that. But there's something very clear in the environment, very happy, very clear around you. There's clear information here. Maybe you're just not wanting to see it or not able to see it, but it's clear, it's happy, it's good. There's something in your environment. And the moon is 18 and the sun is 19, comes right after that. So it's like the star. Here's Jack. He's come to join us today. There's like the star, like the sense of hope and the reasonability of that hope, and there's points to that hope. And then there's the moon of like, didn't I? Your intuition speaking to you still, but you might be having difficulty understanding it, discerning it, and not wanting to pass that on because you're not quite sure what you're seeing. And then after that, we have the sun. Okay, yes, now we see clearly. So there is something to be seen very clearly in your environment, which is interesting because I think you're all stuck in your head as far as like, am I seeing this clearly or am I not? Well, nights and the full moon and the shadows of that full moon and the fears of that full moon that full moon's light casts, I want to say the silver has turned to gold here. And now there is a lot of clarity. So you're not seeing the clarity. You're like, still I'm in the dark. Still it is night. Still I cannot see. It's still night. And the passersby are like, babe, it's not night. It's not night. This is clear as day, actually. This is clear as day, and you can see, right? You're the observer. Jack. You're the observer, and you can see what's going on very clearly. It's clear as day. And it's clear as day here, but in your head somewhere it's night because you're, I don't know, full of self-doubt. You have, which would be part of that moon energy, that subconscious, like, do I know this? Am I capable of knowing this? You know, where have these self-doubts come from? Oh, Jack, sir, you are really too big just for this table, even if there weren't anything on it. Your to-do list, we go back to, wow, it looks like a spider web, the Wheel of Fortune, the spider web, the Wheel of Fortune here. This totally is such a wheel here. Wheel of Fortune as a to-do list to me means don't do you don't have to do much, maybe flick a little bit, but a lot has been set in motion, and where you could have some sort of lucky break, you could have, it's typically considered a very lucky card. So that's really cool. It's a very lucky card, but it also means to me twists of fate, plot twist coming up here. So you don't really actually have to do anything. Do you want to say hello to the cards? Plus, you don't actually have to do anything here, or very much. There is a sense of divine timing, like we were talking about here. Like watch and wait is what this is a little bit. Although it's such like a, it is sort of plot twist, unexpected results, and maybe you do something unexpected too. But I'm seeing a sense of like effort's already been put in here with this Wheel of Fortune, and so you're waiting for an opportunity to open up. And perhaps that's what this is, waiting for an opportunity to open up, waiting for your opportunity. There's a really great opportunity. I think it's going to be really clear. Like when this spider when this, fly lands in here, the spider knows, it vibrates the whole web. It vibrates everything. And the spider is very well aware, whether they're asleep or awake, that this is now an opportunity has come into their field, into their almost aura, or into their world, into their home that they've created, into the energy. I mean, gosh, spider webs are so thin, and yet they are so deadly, or so effective in what they need to do. Deadly if you're a fly, very effective. Not deadly at all if you're the spider, but they're very effective in what they need to do. Even though they're so thin, they're almost like thoughts, and the thoughts that, ouch, Jack, the thoughts that sort of trap you here. Like it's your spider web, but you're feeling very trapped in it. Right? She's almost bound up like a fly in this thing, but you're not trapped in it. It's actually your web. It's actually your web. So, but you're feeling trapped in your own like creation, perhaps. But there's a sense of like divine timing, and you're going to feel that vibration. You're going to feel that energy come in, and you're going to feel that, I think, the energy shift here. And you're going to know like, oh, actually it is clear as day. And you're going to take your blindfold off. You're going to see where you're at. You're going to see the opportunity that's coming in right in front of you. Possible outcome, Queen of Swords. Very direct energy. Very clear, very direct. Queen of Swords, she knows what she thinks. She speaks very clearly. So this is someone you may be dealing with who's just very direct. They're not going to, it sits underneath this Page of Swords energy, so it's just like this awkward, fumbling communication turns into this very direct, I know what I think now. And that's working again with the moon energy. Jack is very much on top of the moon right now. So, and the moon energy of what you cannot see something, but it's going to be very clear. I feel like with this Wheel of Fortune coming in, it's going to vibrate the whole energy field like around you. It's going to vibrate your world when an opportunity comes to you. You'll know, you're not going to miss it. So there's just like this really direct energy. And for me personally, this represents a person, different people that I know are going to be direct. They're straight shooters. They're never going to blow sunshine up my ass, even though there's plenty of sunshine here. They don't do that. So I know that they're going to be straight shooters. So you may be dealing with someone, a known entity, that is going to be very direct. They're going to be very clear, and you're not going to be left very unclear, like, what did they really think, or what do they really think? So there's just very clear, direct communication. I think actually this could be you going from this page energy into this energy. Once sort of the wheel turns, and it might be like this opportunity comes in, or the situation arrives in your life, and you know immediately what to do. You come out of that moon energy back into High Priestess energy, back into very direct, very clear. This is what I think, this is what I know. And the Queen of Swords to me has very almost masculine energy to it. And those archetypes are very old and very ingrained. So it's almost hard to talk about them, but I just want to say like initiative energy or directness. This is like the least feminine queen there is here. She's very much out in the world, very much taking charge, very much cutting her own way. So there's almost like, I can see you in a way going from this energy of like, I don't know, like this page of like, I don't know what's real, I don't know what's not real. It seems kind of dark. There's all these shadows, and then blindfolds off when the moment arrives, and then you go into this energy of like, no, actually, I see very clearly. Actually, I do know what I want. Actually, I do know why I'm here. I do know why I did this. I do know why I made this whole situation, or why I made this whole web and this home, or my life the way it is. Like there's a twist of fate coming up, or a shift, a plot twist coming up. And I think it's going to give you a lot of clarity and make you a lot more confident in your communication. And in sort of what you've done back here, because at one point you were really moving out of intuition, but now there's just sort of like some jumble, like, why am I doing this? You can't see. Basically, we've got this like 8 of Swords here. You can't see anymore. Like you did see, you knew, you set this up. You've gotten into a space maybe where you can't see why you did that, or you can't see what's going on, but there's a plot twist coming. So let's give you a little prayer here, my lovelies. Man, I love doing these cards. It's so fun. It's so fun. I forget when I take breaks. I'm like, wow, why do I do that? No, I'm never like that, but it is really interesting when I don't know. It's nice to take a break and then come back, and then you can really sing. So walls come tumbling down. To defend ourselves against pain, we can create walls of protection around us. Oh, you did create this for a reason, perhaps, for a very good reason. You walled yourself off. You trapped yourself, encased yourself in some sort of protective area. Sometimes without even realizing it, those walls make it hard for love, life, and joy to enter our world. Maybe we need those walls. Maybe we needed those walls once upon a time, but now it's time for those walls to come tumbling down because divine love wants to enter your world. I'd also say this blindfold needs to come off. There's a lot of joy and a lot of sunshine in your life, a lot of positive things going on, and the potential for positive things to go on around you, but you're going to have to take the blindfolds off. So hopefully that was helpful for you. I hope to talk to you guys again soon. Thank you so much for joining me on this lovely reading today. Ciao, babes.